Hi, this is Dave Bentley. In our 150 class, we start the first day out by turning beads. In the past, when we've turned beads, they look something like this. You end up with a bead stick, and the beads are very close together, some almost too close. And as I walk around the room, I can hear people getting catches because they're too close together. I want to rethink the way that we turn beads. I took a piece of wood and turned it round, and then I put some areas in it where these are definitely going to be the beads, these higher pieces. These bottom ones would be coves, but we're not going to do coves now. We're just going to turn beads. Then the spindle gouge has a nice rounded end on it. It has a bevel on the back side. And as we get ready to turn, before you turn your lathes on, I want you to take your spindle gouge and set it on the wood and determine what that angle is where you have the best support and where that bevel is riding against the wood. Once you have that, it's very similar to using a spindle roughing gouge where you bring it in and then you set your spindle roughing gouge against the wood as it's turning, and then pull it into a cutting position, and then start to cut. We'll do the same thing with the spindle gouge. We're going to bring it in. I want to look at it ahead of time, make sure I know basically where I have to be for it to be against the wood, and then I know where to cut. So let's turn this on, and we'll start. So let's turn this on, and I'm going to start turning beads on the right side. I know what my basic angle is. I'm still going to bring this in. Bring it to a cutting position and just start turning, making sure that that bevel is riding against the wood. We end up with a nice smooth bead starting. But it turns, I get a nice little dust almost coming off it. Nothing, no large pieces, just a lot of dust. So there we have our first bead. By taking that tool, the spindle gouge, and dragging it around and lifting the handle, you can almost see the bottom part of the tool riding against the wood. And as you swing it, you have to go almost vertical as you go back to do the side of the bead. That's what I want everybody to practice today. Now I'm going to start working my way across and do some more, and let's see how those go. Now we'll switch to the other hand. So those are two beads. But if you ride that bevel, it makes for a very smooth cut. Left-handed, I don't turn quite as fast left-handed as I do right, but it sort of forces me to control that shot, that cut even more. But you bring it into let the bevel ride until you know the bevel's against it. Bring it into a cutting position, and start your cut. First small cuts and then larger cuts, and turning that tool, pulling the handle up and out, riding the bevel all the way back to the inside portion of the cut. It makes for a smooth cut. And you'll know when you have a catch because you'll do that and you'll pull it away and it'll catch almost automatically. I know that'll catch because it's caught on me lots of times. And if I've been talking and I take my attention away from what I'm doing, I sometimes pull the tool back a tiny bit, just enough to get a catch. All right, so I have the bead sticks. Let's take a look at doing some coves, which are a totally different movement. They look identical, but they're totally different. So this is where we're going, the bevel. And I'm going to move over here and try doing a bevel from this side. Remember, we do it from the right side down towards center, and then from the left side down to center. And the tool, it digs in and then pushes forward as you move in toward the center. Let's take a look at that as we're doing it. Take your time when you cut these. It makes all the difference in the world. And force yourself to slow down. It's an easy thing to speed up. You don't want to go fast. All right, let's take a look at another way to turn a cove. But we're just using a scraper, so a little bit more forgiving. And you want to make sure after a period of time, check to make sure you still have a burr on your scraper. So let's give it a shot. You'll notice I'm just turning it just a teeny tiny bit, and it helps it cut a little bit better. And again, I'm not going all the way through from one side to the other. I'm doing the right side, the left side. And I think what we need to do is start doing the countdown again from 1 to 3. Take your time and watch what you're doing. Scrapers, when you cut with them, the cut is 90 degrees or less. And when you start going over that 90 degrees, and again, take your time. And with the scrapers, you actually get a very nice cove. It's nice and clean. So in our class, this is one of the things that the day we do Beads and Coves is a day that we use some of the other tools as well. So I'm going to show you 2 more tools that you can turn beads with. One is a diamond point tool. I made this one with Jim Rogers. And Jim was nice enough to turn me a handle for it on his metal lathe at home. Beautiful tool. Use that. We're going to use that one in a minute. And then we have another one that we have here at school. We had an old shallow fluted gouge that had its life was just about over, and we gave it some new life. We took and the end of it and cut it down and sanded it and turned it into a beading tool. I don't know if you can see that. There's a very light rounded portion of it that you use to make your beads. And I'll show you and demonstrate that one as well. So let's take a look at the diamond point tool first, and then we'll get to this one. So with the diamond point tool, you have 3 different edges on it, and typically you just put it in where you want your bead, and then you use this edge out here to round your bead. It's a very simple tool to use. Elegant in its simplicity. It's an easy way to make some nice beads. Make marks on the bottom of a bowl that you just made, or use it as a decorating tool to do other kinds of decorations. Let me show you the other tool. And the other tool has these 2 little forked tongues on it that will be applied as your piece of wood turns toward you. You put this down facing in the opposite direction. Let me show you. If you're in the 150 class, these are some of the tools that we'll have for the students to use. And if you're just watching and you enjoy watching what you see, please subscribe. And Jim and I will do more videos as time goes on. We already have 200 out in the marketplace. I just have, this is my second one. But subscribe, and if you have comments about things you'd like to see, or you have comments for us about anything we've made, please leave them at the bottom, down in the comment section, and we'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.